Gyalpo underscored that Tibetans revere Dalai Lama as the emanation of Avalokiteshvar, the patron saint of Tibet. He is the ultimate symbol of Tibet as a nation and its people. And given that since ancient times, the issue of reincarnation of the next Dalai Lama has been handled 13 times, the incumbent being the 14th, even this time the followers of the faith would be able to do it on their own. So far, so good. What got the grouse of the Chinese spooky, it seems, is that Gyalpo questioned the Chinese locus, China's right to have any say in the process. Despite controlling Tibet since 1959, the year the Dalai Lama escaped from Lhasa and made his way to India in exile, in the eyes of many in the world, legitimacy of Chinese territorial claims have been tenuous at best. Only last month, for example, President Joe Biden of the United States signed into law the Resolve Tibet Act, which denies the historicity of China's territorial claims over Tibet. The new law calls for China to have an unconditional dialogue with the Dalai Lama and his representatives over the future of Tibet. More significantly, the act does not call Tibet an integral part of China and goes on to demarcate the exact boundaries of what constitutes Tibet as distinct from China on the map. The United States has earlier passed two more Tibet-specific laws, one each in 2002 and 2020. The latest one seems toughest in posturing, mincing no words on Chinese claims and conduct. But coming back to the hot exchange, a peeved Jing hit back with a dismissive tone and a certain brashness that characterizes a new generation of China's diplomats called wolf warriors. Jing said that the process of discovery of the next Dalai Lama would be subject to Chinese laws. She also repeated the standard Chinese position that Xinjiang, as the Chinese call the territory, has been part of China since ancient times and is an internal affair of the PRC. To quote her verbatim, the reincarnation of living Buddhas, including the Dalai Lama, must comply with Chinese laws and regulations and follow religious rituals and historical conventions, unquote. She also repeated an earlier Chinese claim that the selection of the present Dalai Lama in 1939 was done with the approval of the then government of China. It was the turn of Gyalpo to put the record straight again. It seems the Chinese only manipulated facts, even real-time telegrams, to make it look like they were involved, all for the sake of posterity. A picture of Chinese envoy Wu Yongxin with the Dalai Lama in 1940 was not of the day of the enthronement ceremony in 1940, for which Wu had been deputed by Beijing to be in Lhasa. It was, in fact, of a few days later when the Chinese envoy was granted a private audience with the new Dalai Lama, like other envoys, including from the British India. Interestingly, I found out that to be present during the ceremony, the Chinese had to take a visa for their representative from the British, giving ample evidence of the Tibetan territory being under loose British suzerainty. In any case, not at all a Chinese one. The British India office in Delhi made it incumbent upon a no-objection certificate from the government in Lhasa to issue a visa to the Chinese delegation, which subsequently traveled to Tibet via India. Not only that, while issuing the no-objection certificate, the Lhasa government put restrictions on the size of the Chinese delegation that would participate in the Dalai Lama's reincarnation ceremony. Now listen to more of what happened. The Chinese applied for visa with British India in the month of April of 1939. The government in Lhasa sent its consent on August 31. The British Indian government in Delhi approved visas for the 19-member Chinese delegation on October 5. And the delegation led by Wu Yongshin, left Chongqing on October 21 and traveled through Hong Kong, Burma, and India, sometimes flying, sometimes using sea route, and then via the land route to reach Lhasa in January of 1940. Imagine, had it been a relationship of central and state governments between Beijing and Lhasa, it would not have taken so many permissions, a British visa, and an indirect journey of 3 months for the Chinese to be present during the coronation ceremony of the present Dalai Lama. The nationalist government in Beijing subsequently released an edict, a sort of gazette notification, on February 5, 1940, trying to own up to the reincarnation ceremony of the 14th Dalai Lama. The edict number 898 said that China approves the status of 5-year-old boy Lamo Thondup as the reincarnation of the 13th Dalai Lama. Now imagine how foolish the Chinese could be, at least at that time. The process of locating the reincarnation or successor of the 13th Dalai Lama, who had died in 1933, had been set in motion by the Tibetan government in 1937, 4 years before the Chinese edict owning up the Dalai Lama's reincarnation. A party led by High Lama Kyutsang Rinpoche had wandered through the hills and valleys, villages and towns of Tibet for 6 months and more in 1938 and located the boy, Lamo Thondup, in Taksar, near Kombom, in Amdo province of Tibet. Forget about a role in the search. The Chinese did not know what was happening. Is that funny enough? No, let me give you more. Since the Communist Party-led government came to power in China in 1949, they have been after the present Dalai Lama. Just a couple of anecdotes on how the Chinese have conducted themselves. When the first meeting happened between Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and the 19-year-old Lama in Beijing in 1954, the Chinese did not allow the two to speak directly in English. With Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai by their side, Lama spoke in Tibetan, which was translated by a translator to Mandarin, and then the second translator present there translated the Mandarin back to English. Anecdote 2. The Chinese have brought in 2 laws, one in 1992, which says that recognition will not be given to a reincarnation who has escaped to a foreign country. Obviously, the target is the present Dalai Lama, and the possibility of him anointing his successor from outside China. The second law was brought in 2011 after the Dalai Lama said that he would not be reborn in Chinese-controlled Tibet because on that soil he could not serve as a free champion of the Tibetan people. The law now forbids the Dalai Lama to be reborn anywhere but on Chinese-controlled soil. The Chinese government also launched a search engine collecting information on 1,300 plus probable Dalai Lamas. All the names are approved by the Chinese, and guess what? Dalai and Tenzing Gyatso, associated with the present one, are blocked from the search. China sees the Dalai Lama as a separatist. He has been variously called a wolf in a monk's robe or a beast with a man's face. Imagine the irony. An atheistic communist regime wanting to control an avowedly religious process of reincarnation. For Tibetans, Dalai Lama is an article of faith. For the Chinese, a tool for furthering its expansionist agenda. Luckily, the Dalai Lama has spoken with a lot of clarity and foresight on his successor. Irrespective of what the Chinese pull out of their hat, the Tibetans around the world would go by what the Dalai Lama ordains. The world is also pushing back. I mentioned the American law, which Biden signed last month. In India, host to the Dalai Lama since his exile in 1959, as recently as the budget session, we had a Rajya Sabha member from Sikkim, Dorji Shering Lepcha, urged the government to call China border Tibet border.
जैसे आपको पता है जो बॉर्डर है इधर अरुणाचल लेह लद्दाख से लेकर सिक्किम तक करीब करीब 1400 किलोमीटर है, करीब करीब 1400 किलोमीटर है। हम लोग बोलते हैं जैसे कि चाइना बॉर्डर, ये चाइना बॉर्डर नहीं, ये नथुला बॉर्डर है। ये चाइना बॉर्डर नहीं, ये तिब्बत बॉर्डर है। क्योंकि जो जितना भी ये एलओसी है, इसमें चाइना नहीं है, इसमें तिब्बत है।
It's a matter of record. Maps of the Ming dynasty that ruled China from 14th to 17th century show Tibet as outside the boundaries of the kingdom, with suzerainty relationship perhaps centered around paying tributes and accepting titles. And lest we forget, as late as 1940, a Chinese envoy needed an Indian visa to reach Tibet.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university in the recently released Education World Rankings, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked standards in education.
You know, in our part of the world, when people meet people, they are given to embracing each other. It may not be part of your culture, but I assure you it's part of ours.
This is high time that females should be protected at their workplace at least. So we have two basic demands which are human rights, for which we have to fight.
Unless we give some kind of a punishment that can make this stop, and until something like that happens, a proper rule is getting implemented, we are not happy.
Moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has just returned from a whirlwind Europe trip to Poland and Ukraine. Both very important for us not to register on Get Me Right. It was first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Poland in 45 years, and first by any since Ukraine emerged out of the erstwhile USSR in 1991. Those factoids apart, it is to the credit of Modi that he has pushed Indian diplomacy into uncharted territories to expand India's sphere of contact, if not outright influence. Well, there can't be influence without contact. And the Modi government, per one estimate, has connected with at least 50 nations which had not seen an Indian leader visiting them for between 3 to 5 decades. Case in point, Mozambique. When External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar touched down on Maputo, Mozambique's capital, in April last year, it was first time since India's independence that a leader was visiting the Southeast African country orbiting the Indian Ocean. Last decade has seen India establishing diplomatic missions in 21 countries, mostly in Africa, but many in Europe as well. The last one being just this month, when we operationalized our embassy in Tirana, the capital of Albania. Let's go one by one. As the war broke out in 2022, with the Russian attack on Ukraine, it is Poland that has handled much of the humanitarian effort, including largest number of refugees from the conflict zone. It is effectively the only entry port for Ukraine, one which Prime Minister Modi also used to take a 10-hour train ride into Kiev. Joe Biden, Emmanuel Macron, Rishi Sunak, and Olaf Scholz all took the same route to visit Kiev in solidarity with Ukraine. In fact, Poland takes over the EU presidency next year. That sort of underscores the topical significance of Poland as part of Central Europe. Hence the upgradation of the neglected relationship to a strategic partnership during Prime Minister's visit. Even otherwise, the Modi government, as part of its larger engagement push, which I mentioned earlier, has focused on Europe also, with Prime Minister making 26 trips for bilateral and multilateral engagements in his 11 years at the helm. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has done better, with 29 in his 5 years alone. India has signed a trade agreement with EFTA bloc, which includes Norway, Switzerland, Iceland, and Liechtenstein recently. We are in talks for a free trade deal with the larger European Union, as also, of course, the United Kingdom, which should happen soon. Look at the irony now. Warsaw, the capital of Poland, is the place where anti-NATO Warsaw Pact was signed between the Soviet Union and its 7 East European socialist bloc allies: Albania, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Hungary, Poland, and Romania. That was in 1955. The Cold War was shaping up, and these Eastern Bloc countries thought NATO's rearming of West Germany was a threat. They needed to band together. Cut to the present. All the erstwhile members of the Warsaw Pact are now part of NATO, Poland included. With Sweden exceeding as a member, NATO is now 32 states strong. When the Cold War ended, NATO had 16 member states, having grown only by 4 since its setting up in 1949. But when the raison d'etre, the reason for the military alliance, the Cold War with Soviet Russia ended with the dissolution of the USSR, NATO continued to expand. Finland and Sweden have joined the grouping after Russia launched its Ukraine war in 2022. Now, just for an irony, which is sad and stupid in equal parts. USSR wanted to join NATO in 1954 and was denied. President Putin has been offering to become a member, but has been turned down. Obviously, because the West needs a villain, not peace. So when Modi visited Moscow last month, his photo op with Putin was met with opprobrium, harsh criticism in Western capitals. Putin did not help with a missile strike on a hospital in Kiev, which claimed the lives of 5 children just a day before Modi arrived in Moscow. President Zelensky was most trenchant in his choice of words, calling the visit a huge disappointment and a devastating blow to peace efforts. Remember, this even though Modi had met Zelensky only a fortnight before on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Italy. Including the meeting the two had in Bali on the sidelines of G20 in 2022, Modi has met Zelensky more times than Putin. But that's how narratives get woven. Given this backdrop, the Kiev visit should make the West see reason on India's balancing act with clean hands. It is not a zero-sum game for us, even if it is for the Western nations. Visiting Kiev on the eve of Ukraine's Independence Day is also not happenstance. There is a message there by India. It was important that we continue to engage with Russia so that it does not fall further into Chinese vortex, making Beijing influence, if not outrightly set, Moscow's foreign policy positions. An increasingly strong Beijing-Moscow axis towards which, surprisingly, the Western strategic thinkers have been blind to. By visiting Kyiv within a month, Modi has assuaged concerns that our Russia tilt was at the expense of the West. Specifically on Ukraine, let's not forget, Soviet presidents, Brezhnev, who stood by India during 1971 war, and Khrushchev, who coined Hindi Rusi Bhai Bhai, both were Ukraine-born. Of the tremendous military hardware of Russian vintage that India has, a good one-third were manufactured in plants located in Ukrainian territory from the Soviet era. Ukraine today is war-torn. It's broken, not just in physical infrastructure, but as a society. A friend who visited Kyiv and some other parts of the war-ravaged territory informed me that it might take generations for the Ukrainians to bury the mental trauma of this war. The scars would take a long time to heal. It is here, in rebuilding Ukraine from scratch, that India should look forward to an enduring partnership. Prime Minister Modi, with his visit, has opened a window for India and Ukraine to bury the past and look ahead. Future is here, and it's not a zero-sum game. Thanks for watching.
Director, the taste of success.
India launched its first reusable hybrid rocket Rumi-1. The rocket is developed by the Tamil Nadu-based startup Space Zone India and Martin Group. It was launched from Chennai using a mobile launcher. The rocket carries 3 CubeSat satellites and 50 Pico satellites into a suborbital trajectory. An Indian Air Force plane has been arranged to bring the bodies of 24 tourists who were killed in a road accident in Nepal. This after Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde spoke to Union Home Minister Amit Shah and other senior central officials regarding the issue. Amit Shah has assured him full cooperation from the central government. The incident happened when the bus was en route to Kathmandu from Pokhara. It plunged into a river. As many as 27 tourists were killed. Ahead of the upcoming Haryana Assembly elections, Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan chaired a meeting at his residence. The meeting was attended by Haryana CM Nayab Singh Saini and other leaders. Tripura Chief Minister Manik Saha will chair an all-party meeting today to review the flood situation in the state. Yesterday, he inspected flood-affected areas in Gomti and South Tripura areas. The flood situation in Tripura improved slightly yesterday, but vast areas including human habitations in urban and rural areas still remain inundated. Thousands of people have been evacuated due to heavy rains. NHRC has taken suo motu cognizance of the blast at a pharma facility in Andhra Pradesh's Anakapalli area. The blast occurred after a reactor exploded, killing at least 17 workers and injuring 50 others. NHRC has issued notices to the Chief Secretary and DGP to conduct a thorough investigation into the matter.
pronounce it?
First you say comma like a comma in a sentence. Then you say la like la 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 la.
Put it together and it's 1, 2, 3, Kamala. It's come to my attention that there are some folks who struggle or pretend to struggle with the proper pronunciation of our future president's name. So, hear me out. Confusion is understandable. Disrespect is not. So tonight, we are going to help everyone get it right. Here to help me are some very special guests. Thank you, ladies. Can you tell us your names?
Hello everybody, my name's Amara. And my name is Leela, her little sister.
And what are you here to do?
To teach you how to say your auntie's name.
Okay, so how do you pronounce it?
First you say comma like a comma in a sentence. Then you say la like la 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 la.
Put it together and it's 1, 2, 3, Kamala. All right, so let's practice.
Everybody over here say comma. Everybody over here say la.
Together.
Good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi concludes the historic first visit of an Indian Prime Minister to Ukraine, one that has come just 6 weeks after his visit to Moscow in the middle of a war.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Presented by Royal Global University. Northeast can't wait. Pado kuch bano.
Polygraph test of prime accused Sanjay Roy to be done tomorrow. Meanwhile, CBI seizes his bike which was spotted at the crime spot. Trouble mounts for former Rajikar principal Sandeep Ghosh. CBI to now probe financial irregularities connected to him.
Detected a single Hindu people, but we are arresting in last 1 month 35 Muslim influx. So always we blame Hindu. It is not the correct.
Big statement by Himanta Biswa Sarma. He says infiltration at Assam borders increased after unrest in Bangladesh.
कांग्रेस और नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का यह गठबंधन राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा को लेकर के अनेक बड़े सवाल खड़ा करता है और भारतीय संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखने वाले हर व्यक्ति को चिंतित भी करती है।
Fierce electoral fight breaks out after date of polls announced in Jammu and Kashmir. Congress, NC join hands. BJP calls it an unholy alliance. Encounter underway in Jammu and Kashmir's Baramulla. One terrorist eliminated and weapons seized. Trouble mounts for actor Nagarjuna as convention center owned by him in Madhapur razed by Hydra.
Presented by Royal Global University. Northeast can't wait. Pado kuch bano.
Breaking news coming in a big move by the Modi government. The central government has now announced unified pension scheme in place of old and new pension schemes. A unified pension scheme has been announced by Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav in a briefing held earlier today. In place of the old pension scheme, a unified old and new pension scheme, a unified pension scheme has been announced which will be implemented from 1st April 2025. The announcement was made by Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. 23 lakh government employees will be benefiting from this decision by the Modi government. Let's listen in to this announcement.
केंद्र सरकार और सरकारी कर्मचारियों के जो बहुत बड़े हिमायती बनते हैं, वैसी पॉलिटिकल पार्टियों का भी अगर हम इतिहास देखें तो वहां पर भी बहुत स्पष्ट तौर पे दिखाई देगा कि जैसे त्रिपुरा में कई वर्षों तक कम्युनिस्ट गवर्नमेंट रही, उन्होंने कभी भी ढंग से टाइम पे कमीशन नहीं रखा। केरला में जब केंद्र सरकार ने 10% से 14% बढ़ाया गवर्नमेंट का कंट्रीब्यूशन, तब केरला की सरकार ने उसको नहीं बढ़ाया। तो जन जन के हित की ध्यान रखना, एम्प्लॉयज के हित की ध्यान रखना, ये भावना और इस तरह की कार्यशैली केवल एनडीए सरकार की है।
Another breaking news coming in. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has slammed the Congress party for joining hands with the National Conference ahead of the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly elections. He accused the party of risking the country's unity and security for its greed of power. Listen into this bite. So Union Minister Amit Shah has hit out at Congress and National Conference 2 days after they announced an alliance in Jammu and Kashmir ahead of the assembly elections. In the middle of all of this, PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti has said that she will continue to back talks with Pakistan. And the BJP is essentially questioning the Congress, saying that, do you also want talks with Pakistan, which the NC has been asking for. A 10-pronged attack by Amit Shah asking Congress, do you back NC's demand for a separate flag for Jammu and Kashmir? Does the Congress back 370 restoration and the return of terrorists? Question 3 from Shah to Rahul and Congress. Does Congress back separatism by asking for dialogue with Pakistan? Does the Congress back nurturing cross-border terror? Does Congress back reinstating terrorist skin in government jobs? Does the Congress back NC's promise to end Dalit quotas? Does Congress want to rename Shankaracharya Hill? Does Congress want to give Jammu and Kashmir economy to Pakistan-backed terrorists? Does Cong back politics of discrimination? Does Congress want NC's divisive politics of giving Kashmir autonomy separate from the country? Listen in to this statement by the Union Home Minister.
नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का जो एजेंडा है, तो उनके अलायंस पार्टनर कांग्रेस पार्टी और श्री राहुल गांधी इसके साथ सहमत है या नहीं है, वो घोषणा करे। एजेंडा क्या है नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का, जिसको प्रिंटेड उन्होंने बांटा है? एजेंडा क्या है? कश्मीर का अलग ध्वज बनेगा राष्ट्र ध्वज के सामने, जो पहले था वो वापस लाना चाहता है। क्या कांग्रेस पार्टी इसके साथ सहमत है? 370 वापस इंट्रोड्यूस करने की मांग रखेंगे, क्या कांग्रेस पार्टी इसके सहमत है? उन्होंने कहा है कि मोदी जी के आने के बाद जो ST SC OBC का रिजर्वेशन मिला 370 जाने के बाद, इस पर हम पुनः विचार करेंगे। तो कांग्रेस पार्टी ने ये स्पष्टता करनी है कि जम्मू कश्मीर में से ST SC OBC के रिजर्वेशन को समाप्ति की जो बात है, इससे कांग्रेस पार्टी और राहुल गांधी सहमत है या नहीं है? क्योंकि कांग्रेस पार्टी का पुराना इतिहास है, OBC के रिजर्वेशन को इतने सालों तक केवल और केवल कांग्रेस पार्टी ने ही लटका कर रखा। तो इस विषय पर स्पष्टता करना बहुत जरूरी है।
Another breaking news coming in from Baramulla, where a terrorist was eliminated during an encounter in a joint operation by Sopore Police and the 32 Rashtriya Rifles in the Baramulla district of Jammu and Kashmir. Meanwhile, Republic has accessed the picture of the terrorist who was killed and the weapons that were seized. On your screens are the weapons that were seized. We have also accessed the picture of the terrorist who was eliminated. On your screens, the encounter is still underway in Baramulla, as we see a rise in infiltration attempt by Pakistani-backed terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir, where we have seen a decline in terror activities in Kashmir. We are seeing growing infiltration attempts in Jammu, and these are the visuals on your screen of the terrorist who was eliminated by the Indian security forces. Actor Nagarjuna's convention center was demolished by the Hyderabad Disaster Response and Assets Monitoring and Protection owing to allegations of encroaching the full tank level area and buffer zone. Nagarjuna's convention center allegedly stood on 1.12 acre of the FTL area and an additional 2 acre within the buffer zone. Here's a report filed by my colleague Aniri.
Well, in a major drive by the Hydra committee, where we see that now earlier in the day, the Hydra officials along with the police security had arrived here at the N convention, which is right behind where you can see it is completely demolished by the Hydra. Hydra is the Hyderabad Disaster Response and Assets Monitoring and Protection Authority, which has been formed after the Telangana Congress government has formed in the state of Telangana. And now, as you can see, this is the N convention, which is owned by a Tollywood actor Akkineni Nagarjuna, where we see that this particular N convention is said to be under the full tank level, under the buffer zone, which has been constructed on the buffer zone, and that is the reason why now the Hydra committee has completely demolished this particular N convention owned by the Tollywood actor. Well, now we also see that the actor has come out in response to this particular demolition drive which was taken up, where he says that it is not right, pained by the unlawful manner of demolition carried out in respect to the N convention to the existing stay orders. Earlier in 2014, there were stay orders which were issued by the court, but then despite all of that, we see that the Hydra committee has now come out and demolished this particular N convention. As you can see, this is whole lake which is just adjacent to the convention center which has been constructed, but then now it has been demolished by the officials. And also Akkineni Nagarjuna continues to say that I thought it fits to the issue that the statement to place on record that certain facts for protecting my reputation and to indicate that we have not done any action of violation of law is what Nagarjuna has to say. However, now we also see that Nagarjuna has went ahead and filed a petition in the court, and now there is a stay order which has been given by the court over the demolition drive. Meanwhile, we also have been seeing that there is a statement which has been issued by the Hydra committee where they say that today officials of Hydra, GHMC, town planning and other departments in the FTL buffer zones of Tummidikunta lake, that is this particular lake in Madhapur, are amongst the many of the constructions which are done in and around the FTL and buffer zone, and that is the reason why this demolition drive was taken up. But also we have been seeing that now the court has given a stay order over this. Meanwhile, we have been seeing how there has been a political face-off which also has been going on between the BRS and the Congress party over the Hydra committee demolishing such particular constructions which come under buffer zone and the full tank level. This is Anirisha with Video Journalist for Republic TV.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived at Palam Airport in Delhi after concluding his two-nation visit to Poland and Ukraine. During his visit, he met Polish President Andrzej Duda and Prime Minister Donald Tusk, as well as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. BJP approached the Delhi High Court alleging discrimination in the installation of CCTV cameras by the Delhi government. The plea claims that the Aam Aadmi Party installed cameras only in areas represented by AAP MLAs and councillors, while areas represented by BJP MLAs and councillors are being overlooked. Uttarakhand CM Pushkar Singh Dhami condemned the Congress National Conference Alliance for Jammu and Kashmir Assembly polls. He said that the Congress party has been exposed for supporting terrorism, separatism and opposing reservation. He further said that for the Congress party and its allies, their party comes first and nation later.
आगामी विधानसभा का चुनाव है, उस चुनाव में जिस प्रकार से कांग्रेस पार्टी और नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस पार्टी ने आपस में गठबंधन किया है, ये कश्मीर की जनता के साथ एक तरह से धोखा है और ये कश्मीर के जनता के सामने बेनकाब हो गए हैं और कांग्रेस पार्टी पूरे देश के सामने भी बेनकाब हुई है। किस प्रकार से अराजकता को, आतंकवाद को, अलगाववाद को, जिहादियों को समर्थन कर रही है, आरक्षण का विरोध कर रही है।
NCP and SCP Chief Sharad Pawar along with Mahavikas Aghadi party leaders and workers protested against the Badlapur incident where a minor girl was allegedly sexually assaulted at a school. They wore black bands on their arms. Sharad Pawar said that crimes against women are increasing day by day and that the government should take this incident seriously. A scuffle erupted between BRS and Congress women workers in front of the Telangana State Women Commission office in Hyderabad. Mahila Congress workers protesting in front of KTR's vehicle and stopped him when he came there. Congress women were demanding that KTR should apologize to women for his alleged comments against women. Indian Air Force's Mi-17 and ALH helicopters are continuing flood relief operations in Tripura. NDRF personnel are also inducted into disaster-struck areas. Operating from Agartala, the helicopters airdropped over 4,000 food packets to stranded locals. So far, a total of 28 tons of relief material has been airlifted. Union Minister Raksha Kharse and Nepal Home Minister Ramesh Lekhak met the victims of bus tragedy at a hospital in Kathmandu. The incident happened after the bus plunged into a river, killing at least 27 Indians and injuring 16 others. A case of hit and run has come to light from Pune, where a container truck hit a car, killing one person and injuring two others. The incident took place on the 21st of August and the car carrying 4 friends was hit by a speeding truck. The driver of the container truck was drunk when this happened. Investigation has been launched by the police. Officials of Hyderabad Disaster Management and Asset Protection Agency, along with the police, carried out a demolition drive at N Convention Centre in Rangareddy district. The land reportedly comes under the FTL zone and belongs to Telugu actor Nagarjuna. Police force has been deployed to ensure that the demolition is carried out smoothly. A container truck caught fire in Patna, reportedly causing a casualty. Goods inside the truck were gutted due to the fire. Police is investigating the case to find out if the driver was intoxicated when the incident happened. The Delhi police busted an Al-Qaeda module, arresting 11 people and detaining 3 others across Jharkhand, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. They carried out at least 15 raids in collaboration with the police forces of the involved states after receiving intelligence inputs. Delhi Police's special cell has arrested 6 suspected Al-Qaeda terrorists in the forests of Bhiwadi area of Rajasthan, after which every intelligence agency is keeping an eye on this part of the state. These terrorists had set up their training center in the forests of Chopanki area, from where they were given tasks including handling weapons and recce of the surrounding area. Rajasthan ATS along with Delhi police is also jointly interrogating the suspects, and further action will be taken on the identification of the terrorists. Now, Republic is the first channel that went to the spot and found the place in the forest where the suspected Al-Qaeda terrorists had come for training. Here's a report.
राजस्थान के मेवात से सटे जिस जंगल में मैं मौजूद हूं, इसी जंगल में दरअसल अलकायदा के 6 संदिग्ध आतंकियों को दिल्ली पुलिस की स्पेशल टीम ने राजस्थान पुलिस की मदद से पकड़ लिया। और उसके बाद अब सूत्र हमारे ये कहते हैं कि इसी इलाके में ये जो आप खाली इलाका देख रहे हैं, ये पत्थरों से भरा घने जंगल वाला इलाका है और यहीं पे इसी जगह दिल्ली पुलिस ने एक रेड की, जिसमें 6 संदिग्ध जो अलकायदा के आतंकी थे वो पकड़े गए। उनके बारे में ये बताया जाता है कि ये जो संदिग्ध आतंकी थे, ये यहाँ पे ट्रेनिंग का एक हिस्सा बनाना चाहते थे। यहाँ पे गोला बारूद के साथ साथ में AK-47 की जो डमी गन होती है वो यहाँ से मिली है और तमाम सबूतों को, साक्ष्यों को दिल्ली पुलिस की स्पेशल टीम लेकर के अपने साथ में गई है। अब उन्हीं की निशानदेही पर लगातार राजस्थान पुलिस की जो टीम है वो एक्टिव हुई है और तमाम इलाकों को जो है एक-एक सबूतों को यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं पुलिस छानबीन कर रही है। इसी इलाके से ठीक मेरे जो पीछे है, महेश दिखाएं एक बार, कि ये जो ठीक मेरे पीछे हिस्सा है, यहीं से ही पुलिस ने कई सबूत जो हैं वो इकट्ठे किए हैं और माना यही जा रहा है कि इस इलाके को मुफीद रहने के लिए आतंकियों ने, संदिग्ध जो आतंकी थे, उन्होंने चुना था। दरअसल यहाँ से महज 2 से 2.5 किलोमीटर दूर आप जाएंगे तो एक हाईवे आपको मिल जाएगा, अप्रोच हाईवे। इसके अलावा पास में ही जो हरियाणा की सीमा जो है वो शुरू हो जाती है। इसके साथ साथ में ये पूरी टेरिटरी जो है वो राजस्थान की है और दिल्ली से सटा होने के साथ साथ में ये टेरिटरी के साथ में आप देखेंगे कि नाले, ये नाले जो हैं ये बरसाती नाले हैं जो पहाड़ से आते हैं। ये पूरा का पूरा एक पैच है जो पानी में चलता, आप देख सकते हैं कि इस तरीके से ये पूरा का पूरा पैच है जो पानी इसमें चलता है और घने जंगल पहाड़ जो हैं वो यहाँ पे हैं। यही वजह थी कि इस जगह को जो है वो चुना गया था और उसके बाद यहाँ पे ये एक्सक्लूसिव रिपोर्ट जो है वो हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं। रिपब्लिक पहला ऐसा चैनल है जो इस जगह पे पहुंचा है और इस जगह से हम आपको एक्सक्लूसिव रिपोर्ट जो है वो दिखा रहे हैं। अलकायदा के 6 संदिग्ध आतंकी राजस्थान के जिस जंगल में छुपे हुए थे और ट्रेनिंग कैंप बनाने के फिराक में थे और ट्रेनिंग ले रहे थे, वो जगह मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूं। रिपब्लिक भारत पहला ऐसा चैनल है जो आपको उस लोकेशन पे लेके पहुंचा। यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे, यहाँ पे ये कार्टन जो है वो कार्टन के अंदर समोसे जो है वो मिले हैं और यहीं पे ही दिल्ली पुलिस की स्पेशल टीम ने राजस्थान पुलिस के साथ सहयोग करके एक रेड की थी। यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं ये पानी की बॉटल्स के पाउच हैं, पानी की बॉटल्स हैं, चाय के कप्स हैं, इसके साथ साथ में यहाँ पे अनुसंधान करने के लिए राजस्थान की एक पुलिस की जो टीम है, अधिकारी, वो भी यहाँ पे चप्पे चप्पे को छान रहे हैं। इसके अलावा यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे कि किस तरीके से ये है स्किन प्लास्टर, ये स्किन प्लास्टर। सर आप जो ये देखिए तमाकू आप देखेंगे, स्किन प्लास्टर आप देखेंगे। तो जंगल में जिस जगह मैं मौजूद हूँ, ये आप देखेंगे किस तरीके से यहाँ पे एक सबूत जुटाने की तैयारी राजस्थान पुलिस की टीम से भी हो रही है। लेकिन यहाँ आप देखेंगे कि किस तरीके से बॉटल्स, चाय के कप, डिस्पोजल कप जो है वो हैं। इसके अलावा ये देखिए, ये आपको मिलेगा, ये मेडिकल प्लास्टर है, ये बैंडेज जिसे कहा जाता है। ये एक बार महेश दिखाएं तो ये तस्वीर देखें कि ये यहाँ पे पड़ी हुई है और एक नहीं है, स्किन प्लास्टर इस तरीके से 2-3 है। तो यहाँ संभवतः कैंप जो था वो था। आप यहाँ पे देखें, ये देखिए बैंडेज जो है वो बहुत बड़ी तादाद में यहाँ पे है, 1 2 3 4 5 6 इस तरीके से यहाँ निकले। और यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे तो बॉटल्स, पानी की बॉटल जो है वो है, यानी कि जंगल में एक बार पानी की बोतल जब लेकर के आई जाती है तो एक लंबे टाइम के लिए किस तरीके से सरवाइव करना था, किस तरीके से। लेकिन यहाँ पे तमाम सबूतों को इकट्ठा करती हुई जो राजस्थान पुलिस है वो भी दिखाई दे रही है। यहाँ पे देखिए समोसे के कुछ टुकड़े जो हैं वो भी हैं। इसके अलावा यहाँ पे ये समोसे देखिए आप, 6 संदिग्ध आतंकियों को संभवतः यहाँ इसी इलाके से जो जहाँ पुलिस छानबीन कर रही है यहीं पकड़ा गया था। सर क्या क्या मिला है आपको, कुछ बताएंगे आप?
पानी की बोतल है, समोसे हैं और
क्लिप भी मिली है सर, पेपर क्लिप
बिल्कुल मिली है, पेपर क्लिप भी मिली हुई है। और ये स्किन प्लास्टिक के जो है जो लग जाती है उससे पट्टी वगैरह करने के लिए वो भी मिली है।
सर एक बार क्लिप दिखा देंगे एक बार? तो ये आप पेपर क्लिप आप देख सकते हैं कि जंगल में इन पेपर क्लिप्स का क्या काम है। दरअसल इसको जो है पेपर को होल्ड करने के लिए लगाया जाता है। तो ये इस इलाके से मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ किस तरीके से सब कुछ मिला है। अलकायदा के 6 संदिग्ध आतंकी राजस्थान के जिस हिस्से में ट्रेनिंग कैंप चला रहे थे उस हिस्से पर रिपब्लिक भारत पहला ऐसा चैनल है जो पहुंचा है। यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं ये वो ट्रेनिंग सेंटर के लिए जगह मुफीद की गई थी उन संदिग्ध आतंकियों की हिसाब से, और उसके बाद यहाँ से ही वो अपने ट्रेनिंग को चलाना चाहते थे, यहीं से ही सारा जो नेटवर्क था वो चलाना चाहते थे। यहाँ पे अभी देख सकते हैं पुलिस के कुछ बड़े अधिकारी जो हैं वो मौके पर तलाशी लेने के लिए बार बार यहाँ अलग अलग हिस्से में घूम रहे हैं और यहाँ पे तलाशी जो है वो चल रही है। यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे कि किस तरीके से यहाँ पे पानी के बॉटल्स जो हैं वो आपको यहाँ पे मिलेंगी। साथ में आपको जो कार्टून हैं वो कार्टन जो है वो खाने पीने से रिलेटेड जो है वो मिलेंगे। तो इस पूरे इलाके को सूत्रों की माने तो बताया जाता है कि 6 जो संदिग्ध आतंकी थे वो ट्रेनिंग कैंप के हिस्से के रूप में इस जगह को मुफीद किए हुए थे और यहीं पे ही इसी तरीके से लगातार यहाँ पे से ही दिल्ली पुलिस की जो टीम थी, स्पेशल टीम, उसने आकर के कार्रवाई को अंजाम दिया। सपोर्ट में राजस्थान की पुलिस थी और यहाँ से उन्होंने डमी AK-47 यानी कि डमी AK-47 जहाँ चलाना सिखाया जाता था, किस तरीके से ट्रेनिंग लेनी है, ये सुनिश्चित करने के लिए वो जगह थी। इसके ठीक आसपास की अगर मैं बात करूँ तो ये ठीक साथ में ही एक हाईवे है। ये हाईवे जो है ये स्टेट हाईवे है, वो निकलता है। ये पूरा जंगल का इलाका आप देखेंगे दूर दराज तक, जहाँ तक आपकी नज़र जाएगी ये सारा का सारा जंगल का इलाका है। और यही कारण है कि हर जगह एक सबूत को जुटाने का काम जो है पुलिस कर रही है। और ये तस्वीर जो है मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ कि यहाँ पे आप देखेंगे कि किस तरीके से शुरुआती जो जांच है अब वो राजस्थान पुलिस भी करने लगी है। दिल्ली पुलिस की स्पेशल टीम जो थी वो तो कर ही रही थी, इसके साथ साथ में राजस्थान की जो पुलिस है वो भी अपने हिसाब से अब जांच कर रही है।
Fierce electoral fight breaks out after date of polls announced in Jammu and Kashmir. Congress, NC join hands. BJP calls it an unholy alliance.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university in the recently released Education World Rankings. A testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked standards in education.
You know, in our part of the world, when people meet people, they are given to embracing each other. It may not be part of your culture, but I assure you it's part of ours.
what message we are giving to the future generation. If such atrocities will be done on doctors, then no one will want to opt for this profession in future. So please come and support us and build a better, safe place for doctors to work.
Okay, so how do you pronounce it?
First you say comma like a comma in a sentence. Then you say la like la 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 la.
Put it together and it's 1, 2, 3, Kamala. It's come.
Very good evening and thank you for tuning in. I'm Suesha Sant as we get you the latest as far as the investigation in the RG Kar case is concerned. Also, how the BJP is going all guns blazing, questioning the Congress of its alliance with the NC ahead of the polls in Jammu and Kashmir. That and much more in this edition. First, a quick check of the headlines we're tracking. In a big move by the Modi government, central government has announced unified pension scheme in place of old and new pension.
Members of the associations who are representing the central government employees, they are all very happy about this movement.
Polygraph test of prime accused Sanjoy Roy to be done tomorrow. Meanwhile, CBI seizes his bike which was spotted at the crime spot. Trouble mounts for former RG Kar principal Dr. Sandeep Ghosh. CBI to now probe financial irregularities connected to him.
The single Hindu people, but we are arresting in last 1 month 35 Muslim influence. So always we blame Hindu. It is not the correct.
Big statement by Hemanta Biswa Sarma. He says infiltration at Assam borders increased after unrest in Bangladesh. Fierce electoral fight breaks out after date of polls announced in Jammu and Kashmir. Congress NC join hands. BJP calls it an unholy alliance. Trouble mounts for actor Nagarjuna. Convention centre owned by him in Madhapur razed by Hydra. And well, with the pressure that has been mounting as far as CBI's crackdown on the RG Kar rape and murder case is concerned, The hunt is on for the culprits. A polygraph test that will be conducted on arrested accused Sanjoy Roy tomorrow is the latest we've learned. Meanwhile, SIT constituted by the Mamta government to probe the RG Kar incident handed over documents to the CBI in connection with the probe into Ghosh's alleged corrupt dealings at RG Kar. Getting you all the details in this report.
Moving through the gears in its probe into the RG Kar rape and murder, the CBI conducted a polygraph test on former principal Sandeep Ghosh. As chants for justice continued to ring out in the streets, the former RG Kar principal was put through the test. 4 junior doctors who were at RG Kar on the night of the ghastly crime also underwent a polygraph test at the CBI's Kolkata office. Meanwhile, the SIT formed by the Mamta government to probe the horrific rape and murder case handed over some documents to the CBI in connection with its probe into Ghosh's alleged corrupt dealings at RG Kar Hospital. Earlier, the CBI got legal sanction to probe serious charges of financial impropriety against the former RG Kar principal. It is alleged that Ghosh was the kingpin of a medical waste racket at RG Kar and was also involved in the smuggling and sale of unclaimed bodies.
He is a criminal, he is not doctor. He is a criminal and he is running, he used to run a mafia raj in RG Kar Medical College and Hospital. He malpracticed by illegal trafficking of biomedical waste like used syringe, used needle, used rubber gloves, used saline bottle like this. As Sandeep Ghosh wants to be a more powerful and for the sake of money, he did a lot of irregularities including donating of dead bodies for workshop.
In a related development, a delegation of the protesting RG Kar doctors met the CBI probe team, urging it to take the investigation to its logical end at the earliest and nail all the culprits.
कल हम लोगों का एक 5 आदमी का जो प्रतिनिधि हम लोग गए थे सीबीआई ऑफिस सीजीओ कॉम्प्लेक्स, वहाँ पे भी हम लोगों का कुछ मतलब सेटिस्फाइड आंसर नहीं मिला इस सीबीआई से. तो इसलिए गण कन्वेंशन इसलिए था, सब जो एक एक करके जो आंदोलन में हिस्सा हो रहा है उनसे भी थोड़ा बातचीत करना, उनका सजेशन लेना, किस तरीके से आंदोलन को ये प्रोटेस्ट को आगे बढ़ाना है, किस तरीके से ये जस्टिस को हासिल करना है.
We want justice! We want justice! We want justice! We want justice!
Meanwhile, the RG Kar horror continued to evoke outrage in the country and beyond, as protesters came out on the streets in London chanting justice for Abhaya. As the CBI goes one step closer to nailing the culprits behind the RG Kar incident, the nation awaits the full might of justice on the perpetrators.
And while there is nationwide outrage over the brutal rape and murder of Abhaya, people are on the streets demanding justice for her. Amid all this, another case that has come to light from Assam, where a minor girl was allegedly gang raped by at least 3 men, and now the Assam government assuring people that the 2 who are on the run will be nabbed soon. Here's the report.
We want justice! We want justice! We want justice!
The entire nation is on the streets to demand justice for Abhaya.
We want justice!
And amidst this, another horrific case has come to light from Assam. A 14-year-old girl was allegedly gang raped by 3 persons in the Nagaon district on Thursday. Yesterday, the prime accused Tafazul Islam was taken to the crime spot by the police, where he tried to flee by jumping into a pond. He was later pronounced dead.
That one of the prime accused in this incident, Tafazul Ali, was nabbed by the police last evening. However, when he was brought here for reconstruction of the crime scene, he managed to give a slip to the police and jumped into this specific pond, this particular pond, in order to escape the police. However, he got drowned and his body was recovered a short while back from this particular pond.
14-15 साल के लड़के ट्यूशन से आ रहे थे, वो वापस आ रहे थे, उसी टाइम में वो तीन दरिंदे थे वहाँ पे, वो लोग आके उसको उस जगह पे जाके रेप किया है। ये मतलब हम लोग को समाज के लिए बहुत दुखदायक घटना है।
The brutal incident took place when the girl was returning from a coaching class. She was found in a semi-conscious state near a pond with a bicycle beside her. 2 other suspects also remain absconding. Locals are staging protests. Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has vowed strict punishment for the accused.
ढींग में घटना हुआ, मैं तुरंत डीजीपी को भेजा, 2 लोगों को 2-3 घंटा में ही अरेस्ट किया, मंत्री भी उधर चला गया और आगे का भी कठोर कार्रवाई होगा ही होगा। जब ऐसा घटना होता है सरकार को बहुत एग्रेसिव एक्शन लेना चाहिए। बंगाल में सरकार ने लिया नहीं, इसीलिए लोग नाराज हो गया।
हमारा गवर्नमेंट ने और हम लोग का मुख्यमंत्री ने जो ड्रास्टिक एक्शन इधर में लिया और 2 एक्यूज है, उन लोग को भी जल्दी से जल्दी उनको हम लोग निकालेगा। उनका ऊपर बहुत ज़बरदस्ती जो करना है हम लोग कर लेगा।
But how long will India's daughters continue to remain unsafe in their own country?
Moving on, after sealing an alliance for the upcoming Jammu and Kashmir Assembly elections at a meeting between the Abdullahs and Congress heavyweights, Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge, the discord between the NC and the Congress over the allocation of seats that has now come out in the open. A National Conference leader who has threatened in the open, saying that the seat in Banihal will not be given to the Congress in any which way, and the rift that is out there where the BJP not just questioning the Congress over this alliance but also calling it an unholy alliance. Here are all the details.
The alliance between the National Conference and the Congress for the Jammu and Kashmir Assembly polls ran into tough waters after an NC leader openly threatened rebellion.
तंजीम की जिम्मेदारी मिली, जब इसको पीसीसी का चीफ बनाया गया तो इसने वहां भी लूट खसूट की और 2 साल के अंदर इसको निकाल बाहर कर दिया गया। इसको पीसीसी की उस ओहदे से उसी दिन हटा दिया गया जिस दिन नोटिफिकेशन निकला, और उस दूसरे दिन तमाम अखबारों पर यह बयानात आए कि भारत जोड़ो यात्रा में खुर्द वर्द के इल्जाम पे इसको निकाल दिया गया।
Addressing party supporters, National Conference leader Sajjad Shaheen voiced his dissent over the proposed allocation of the Banihal Assembly segment to the Congress. Calling former Jammu and Kashmir Congress chief Viqar Rasoolwani, who is tipped to contest the seat, a thief, Shaheen said he was prepared to do whatever that is needed if the seat went to the Congress. Signalling a further deepening of the cracks in the India alliance, the Shiv Sena UBT declared that it would go solo in the upcoming assembly elections.
Ahead of the seat sharing between National Conference and the Congress party in Jammu and Kashmir, National Conference leader has gone all guns blazing against the former chief of the Congress party, Viqar Rasoolwani. The district president of National Conference from the Ramban district, Sajjad Shaheen, has gone all out and termed the former Congress chief as robber. He said that PCC chief was removed from his chair soon after the announcement of the assembly post to the J&K.
The declaration followed close on the heels of the Aam Aadmi Party announcing that it would fight the elections on its own team.
कि अकेले के साथ साथ हम पहली बार जो है जम्मू कश्मीर की विधानसभा में लड़ रहे हैं, और जम्मू ही नहीं, हम कश्मीर के अंदर भी जो है अपने उम्मीदवारों की आज घोषणा की गई है। 8 उम्मीदवार हमने यहाँ खड़े किए हैं, हमारी जो पहली सूची आई है, जिसके साथ संकल्प पत्र भी जो है कल पार्टी हाईकमांड के साथ गहन विचार विमर्श के बाद इस सूची को जो है वो अंतिम रूप दिया गया है, संकल्प पत्र को अंतिम रूप दिया गया है। हमारे पार्टी पक्ष प्रमुख माननीय उद्धव बाला साहब ठाकरे के निर्देशानुसार शिवसेना अपने बलबूते पर जो है तमाम चुनावों के जम्मू कश्मीर का विधानसभा चुनाव लड़ेगी।
Meanwhile, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath came down heavily on the Congress over its alliance with the National Conference for the Jammu and Kashmir polls. Invoking the SC's manifesto, Yogi asked if the Congress supports the latter's promise to restore Article 370 to the valley and revive talks with Pakistan.
कांग्रेस और नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का यह गठबंधन राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा को लेकर के अनेक बड़े सवाल खड़ा करता है और भारतीय संविधान के प्रति सच्ची श्रद्धा और निष्ठा रखने वाले हर व्यक्ति को चिंतित भी करती है.
Addressing a press conference, BJP leader Tarun Chung warned against attempts to repeat historic mistakes.
क्या जम्मू कश्मीर की धरती पर भारतीय तिरंगे का अपमान होगा? क्या किसी प्रदेश में दो झंडों की ओर जाया जा सकता है? क्या नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस के षड्यंत्र में कांग्रेस पूरी तरह भागीदार है? देश जानना चाहता है. और राहुल गांधी जी ने जो 3 दिन पहले जम्मू कश्मीर के अंदर हाथों में हाथ डालकर जो घोषणा की है, आज उस घोषणा से पूरे देश के मन में कई प्रश्न खड़े हुए हैं.
Earlier, BJP Smriti Irani called on the Congress to come clean on whether it stands with the anti-India stance of Ally National Conference.
Every Indian has resolved incessantly that we as one nation have one constitution, one flag. Does the Congress party believe not in one constitution but do nishan, do pradhan and do samvidhan? The unholy alliance gives rise to many a question.
As the BJP guns for the Congress, Rahul should answer if he wants to go ahead with the NC deal at the expense of national security.
Moving on, as the dates for the assembly elections have now been announced for Jammu and Kashmir, voting awareness programs that are being organized to ensure that the message spreads out about people who have voting rights in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, in Udhampur, a cultural program that was announced by an organization called SWEEP. This primarily promoting participation of school children who spread awareness through skits and dances to put out that message. Here's that report.
As Jammu and Kashmir gears up for assembly polls, programs are being held to raise awareness about voting. A cultural program was organized in Udhampur by the Systematic Voters Education and Electoral Participation, also called as SWEEP. School children participated in this program. They also highlighted the importance of voter awareness through cultural dances. Several skits were also performed. SWEEP Udhampur Nodal Officer Dr. Preeti Sharma appealed to the citizens to cast their votes in the upcoming elections.
आने वाले असेंबली इलेक्शंस के चलते हमने स्वीप कैंपिंग स्टार्ट की है. उसी की कड़ी को जोड़ते हुए आज ये हमारा प्रोग्राम था. यहाँ बच्चों ने बहुत अच्छा कल्चरल प्रोग्राम किया जिसमें उन्होंने ये मैसेज डिलीवर किया कि एक वोट की इम्पोर्टेंस क्या है, और बच्चों ने बहुत अच्छे तरीके से डेमोक्रेसी के बारे में बताया और स्किट्स वगैरह की, डांसेस किए, तो बहुत अच्छा लगा.
And well, a sprawling convention center in Hyderabad that is owned by South superstar Nagarjuna faced bulldozer action over alleged violation of regulations. Dramatic pictures showing how the Hyderabad Disaster Response and Assets Monitoring and Protection rolled out the bulldozer to raise that property. The actor took to social media to voice his anguish, and he said that this property or anything that was built was not against any rule or was violated. Here's that report.
South superstar Nagarjuna Akkineni faced bulldozer action on Saturday as a lavish property owned by him was razed to the ground. The action was taken by Hyderabad Disaster Response and Assets Monitoring and Protection Unit. Dramatic visuals showed a bulldozer tearing down the N Convention Center, the property sprawling over a 10-acre plot. According to reports, the demolition followed allegations of illegal construction.
The Hydra officials along with the police security had arrived here at the N convention, which is right behind where you can see it is completely demolished by the Hydra. And now as you can see, this is the N convention, which is owned by a Tollywood actor Akineni Nagarjuna, where we see that this particular N convention is said to be under the full tank level, under the buffer zone, which has been constructed on the buffer zone, and that is the reason why now the Hydra committee has completely demolished this particular N convention owned by the Tollywood actor.
Reports claimed further that the convention centre had dodged regulatory action by the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation owing to the clout its owners wield. The actor meanwhile took to his X handle to voice his anguish and dismay over the bulldozer action, citing a stay order. Even as the superstar's luxurious property was reduced to rubble, the big question is, did the action follow due process?
And moving on to news from Karnataka, where SIT probe on the sex tape scandal has now gathered further momentum. SIT's charge sheet, where roughly around 2,000 pages have featured accounts from over 150 victims who've all gone on to put out details of what Prajwal Revanna did. Here's that report.
The Special Investigation Team probe on the alleged sex scandal involving Prajwal and HD Revanna seems to have gathered momentum. The SIT's charge sheet brings to the fore scathing allegations against the father-son duo. SIC's explosive charge sheet comprises around 2,000 pages and has featured accounts from 150 witnesses.
ये चार्जशीट के बाद प्रज्वल रेवन्ना के ऊपर कैसा इन्वेस्टिगेशन कंटिन्यू होता है और 3 केस में चार्जशीट कब फाइल करने के लिए अभी एसआईटी टीम भी सोच रहा है। अभी चार्जशीट में एफएसएल रिपोर्ट का भी फाइनल रिपोर्ट पहुंचने के बाद वो पूरा चार्जशीट फाइल करने का एसआईटी टीम प्लान भी कर रहा है।
Revanna has been accused of raping his domestic help at his Holenarasipura residence. Not only this, he is also facing charges of raping the same woman in their Basavanagudi residence in Bengaluru. The charge sheet also mentions that Prajwal allegedly forced the maid's daughter to strip on a video call. Trouble on the Revannas only seems to be mounting. HD Revanna might possibly be charged under IPC Section 354 and IPC Section 354A. Meanwhile, there are scathing allegations against the son. Prajwal is being questioned under the provisions of the IPC Section 376, 354, 354A and 354B. With scathing charges coming to the fore, all eyes on High Court's reception of this explosive charge sheet.
And moving on, as according to the police, 6 terrorists who are linked to the Al-Qaeda were arrested in Rajasthan's Bhiwadi while undergoing weapons training. Republic was the first channel to reach the ground where these terrorists were allegedly training. These are the reports that have been filed.
An Al-Qaeda terror cell was busted in Rajasthan's Bhiwadi district. 6 alleged terrorists were arrested in a raid by the cops. A huge stock of arms and ammunition, as well as explosives and documents, was seized from their possession.
यहाँ पे से ही दिल्ली पुलिस की जो टीम थी, स्पेशल टीम, उसने आकर के कार्रवाई को अंजाम दिया। सपोर्ट में राजस्थान की पुलिस थी और यहाँ से उन्होंने डमी AK-47 यानी कि डमी AK-47 जहाँ चलाना सिखाया जाता था, किस तरीके से ट्रेनिंग लेनी है, ये सुनिश्चित करने के लिए वो जगह थी।
The investigation seems to be on with full force. This comes after the Delhi police earlier arrested 11 people and detained 3 others across Jharkhand, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh.
काफ़ी लोग पकड़े गए हैं, काफ़ी सारे इंक्रिमिनेटिंग लिटरेचर और वेपन्स की रिकवरी हुई है, उस पर फर्दर इन्वेस्टिगेशन चल रही है। जब उसका कुछ नतीजा निकलेगा तो आप जरूर बताएंगे।
They carried out at least 15 raids in collaboration with the police forces of the involved states upon the reception of intelligence inputs. This comes after the special cell of the Delhi police had registered a case under Section 61 of criminal conspiracy under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita on July 15. It was Republic TV that reached before everyone else to the spot where these Al-Qaeda terrorists were allegedly being trained.
दिल्ली पुलिस सामान लेकर के गई तो उन्हीं सामानों से बहुत कुछ निकला, जिसको दिल्ली पुलिस जो है वो भी जांच रही है, राजस्थान की पुलिस भी जांच रही है। ये हिस्सा जो मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ, ये तमाम ये गद्दे, तकिए, पिलो जो हैं, चादर, चटाई, ये सारी जो सामान जो हैं वो इसी कमरे में है और इसी कमरे में वो रहने वाले थे, रुकने वाले थे, जिसका पेमेंट जो था वो एडवांस दिया था 3000 रुपये। उससे पहले एक बगल में कमरा जो था वो भी तैयार हो रहा था, उस पर भी रहने वाले थे। लेकिन उससे ठीक पहले ही जब तक अपने मंसूबों को कामयाब जो थे अलकायदा के 6 आतंकी करते, उससे ठीक पहले एक ऑपरेशन हुआ। दिल्ली पुलिस की स्पेशल टीम यहाँ पे पहुंची और उनको यहाँ से धर दबोचा।
Followed by which the anti-terror unit has been gathering information about the suspects. According to reports, they had been residing in Rajasthan for the past few days. As more and more skeletons stumble out in this case, all eyes are on the special cell police's probe in the Al-Qaeda module busting case.
And well, we now get you details of a private chopper that went down in the poor village of Pune on Saturday. Dramatic pictures from the scene that showed the wreckage of the chopper after it crashed in that village. 4 persons who were on board, including the pilot, and the reasons for why the chopper met with that accident is yet to be ascertained. Now, according to reports, the pilot was hospitalized with injuries while the others got off unscathed. Here's that report.
A helicopter crashed in the Paud village of Pune on Saturday. The chopper belonging to a private aviation company went down during its flight to Hyderabad from Mumbai. 4 persons, including the pilot, were on board the private helicopter when it crashed. Dramatic visuals showed the chopper lying in a wreck after the accident. Sharing details of the accident, SP of Pune Rural Police, Pankaj Deshmukh, said the pilot was admitted to a hospital with injuries while the others were stable.
एक पायलट जो है वह जख्मी है और 3 इनके को पैसेंजर जो है उनको माइनर इंजरीज है। जो इनके पायलट है उनको हॉस्पिटलाइज किया गया है और वहाँ पर अभी एज ए फर्स्ट रिस्पॉन्डर पुलिस की टीम वहाँ उपलब्ध है और आगे की इन्वेस्टिगेशन चल रही है।
The DGCA meanwhile ordered a probe into the incident. The probe by the aviation regulator will shed light into the reasons for the crash.
Director, the taste of success.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university in the recently released Education World Rankings. A testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked standards in education.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello and welcome viewers, I am Aishwarya Kapoor and you're watching The Burning Question. But let's begin with the headlines first. In a big move by the Modi government, viewers. It's a big move. Central government announces unified, mind my words, unified pension scheme in place of old or new pension. It's going to be UPS now. Polygraph test of Prime accused Sanjay Roy to be done tomorrow. Meanwhile, CBI seizes his bike, which was spotted, beg your pardon, at the crime spot. Trouble mounts for former RG Kar principal Sandeep Ghosh. CBI to now probe financial irregularities connected with the man.
Take a single Hindu people, but we are arresting in last 1 month 35 Muslim influence. So always we blame Hindu. It is not the correct.
Big statement by Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma. He says infiltration at Assam borders increased after unrest in Bangladesh.
नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का जो एजेंडा है तो उनके अलायंस पार्टनर कांग्रेस पार्टी और श्री राहुल गांधी इसके साथ सहमत है या नहीं है वो घोषणा करे। एजेंडा क्या है नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस का?
A fierce electoral fight breaks out after date of polls announced in Jammu and Kashmir. Congress, NC join hands. BJP calls it an unholy alliance, viewers. Unholy is the word. Trouble mounts for actor Nagarjuna as convention center owned by him in Madhavpur razed by Hydra. Well, viewers, the country has just seen a very high octane, and I repeat, a very high octane 2024 general elections. Post which we saw